Okay. Hi, everyone. Hopefully that you can hear me okay. I have no idea what I'm doing with technology, and Sam has given himself the week off. So I'm flying solo this evening. So hopefully this is going to work and it's not just a video where my mouth is moving and no noise is coming out. I've also got some new earbuds that I'm trying out for the first time. So I thought, why not just go all in and try all the technical stuff all in one go. I've got some notes down here because I was thinking about what would be useful to talk about. And earlier this week, I was actually going to do a video anyway, and then I figured this could be a really good live topic. So earlier this week, I was thinking about how different it feels this time, where I am in my practice now versus where I was when I first began coaching. And for those of you who didn't know me back then, hi Katie. For those of you who didn't know me back then in the beginning, when I started kind of coaching, I pretty much left my job straight away and went into full-time coaching straight away. And it was really scary, like this whole pressure that I put on myself to make money, and it felt just so unbelievably scary. And I saw myself turn into a different person. Like, I thought that I was still being quite chilled and relaxed and had everything under control, but I imagine I was probably like a crazy person that was just acting very stressed and wondering where all the money was going to come from. And this time, like now going back into full-time coaching, it has felt so different. And so it made me think. I was reflecting on, like, what is it that's different about that? Why does it feel so different this time around? And I kind of narrowed it down to a few different bullet points, really. So I'm going to share them with you in this video, and hopefully it will be helpful. So the first thing I thought of was just real belief in myself as a coach that I know how to create wealth. Like, I think that's probably the most powerful one. It's the thing that I keep coming back to all of the time. I'm glad this is landing, Katie. But it's just the first time, because it was all so new to me. I didn't really have a system that I could test, that I knew to try out, that would work to create clients. And so it just felt like I was trying everything and I wasn't getting anywhere, and it felt just quite frantic. Even with the guidance of a coach, it still felt like it was quite frantic, and I was finding my feet and finding my way. And this time it's like, I have so much faith and trust in excuse me, my system that I operate now. And part of the system is it's a lot of the system is what we're kind of sharing in this when we're talking. If some of you haven't seen the other videos, there's one where I go through, like, I call it the circles exercise, but it's like I literally write down everybody that I can think of on within these circles, and I start there, and that's really my game plan. When it's like, who do I want to talk to, who do I want to connect with, who do I want to share what I'm doing with. And that really has paid off. Like, that system of just staying connected to people and reaching out and having conversations and inviting people into conversations and serving people, like, that system pays off. Just yesterday, I had one referral from somebody who I'd had a conversation with over a year ago. Like, we had coffee and sat on the South Bank in London, and a year later she's referred somebody to me. So you just nothing is wasted. That's what I'm seeing. Like, no connections are ever wasted. And just having faith in that connecting and service has just really changed everything for me. The other thing that I think I used to do was, like, I would get into panic mode. Excuse me, I just realized I have a cough. Haven't got very much water with me. I would get into panic mode, and I think what I realized is I would think that my panicky thoughts was what was keeping me driven and what was keeping me motivated. And if I didn't have that panicky thinking, that I would stop and I would lose momentum. And what I see now is that it's nothing to do with the panicky thinking. Like, that wasn't serving me in any way. And that was only creating the franticness. So what I tend to do now is I see where I'm going. If I'm like starting to get into my head around how much money have I made this month, how much money is on the cards for next month, if I ever start to think like that, then I just catch that that's what I'm doing. It's like, oh, that's just my panicky thinking. There's no truth to any of that. And I've never created a client from panicky thinking. So I just bring myself back to the here and now and get back into my system. Like, what can I do from this moment? Katie, you hide. Well, that's what I used to do. I used to get really frantic, and then I would do really ineffective things that I would tell myself I was busy, but I was probably busy being busy, and then I might hide. But yeah, now I see that it's just thoughts. Like, that isn't what's driving me. That isn't what's motivating me. So let's come back to the system. I can only create from here and now. So who do I want to connect with? And it is literally as simple as that. And I might just get the sheet out and go, right, who do I want to have a conversation with? Who do I want to just share what I'm doing with? And that's all it is. And I don't put any attachment on any of those conversations to actually have an immediate result from them. And I'm seeing more and more around, if there's an immediate need to make money because it is a case of not being able to pay the bills, then it's, and I'm speaking from my personal experience. This isn't advice for anybody else, but this is just what I can share, because this is what I've gone through. If there was an immediate need to make money, it's not a failure to go back and create income elsewhere. And so, just reading Katie's comment. So at the end of the spectrum, that is what I do. I can't pull myself out from under the rock. Yeah, well, it might feel like you can't pull yourself out from under the rock, but I guess I'd be keen, Katie, I'd be keen to know, what is it that you think is going to happen if you come out from the rock? Like, what's the fear behind the fear there? But yeah, from my own experience, it was like I got to a stage, I did the maths, and then I was thinking, right, I can last X amount of months before I don't have any money left and no job, like no income coming in. So that used to make me feel really anxious as well. And what I realized I was doing was I was seeing that as failure. So I was seeing that if I have to go back to work, I don't want to go back to HR. I don't want to go back into that environment. I hated my job. I hated the not the team that I was working with, but I really wasn't enjoying some of the leadership characters in my client group. And so I just had this real fear and this real picture in my head that if I did that, then that would be failure. And this time it feels so different, because I see now that if you're in that position, you can have a completely different relationship with failure. And the word failure, just the idea of failing, it doesn't have to mean what you currently think it means. And I just completely changed the way I looked at failure. So now I see, if I go back to work, it's like, if I'm generating an income that gives me a real freedom in my mind to just show up and have conversations with people, that's a really responsible, sensible, smart decision to make. And what I saw, because I did this, I went and did some HR contracting. What I saw was a real shift in how I showed up in my business. and a real shift in how I showed up in conversations, and a real shift in how I showed up as a HR business partner. And during that time, I've actually created clients through being a HR business partner and staying connected within that organization. So again, it just goes to show, like, whenever we're kind of up in our heads and we define what we think failure is, if we can shift that relationship with that word, and if we can shift the need to have immediate results, and if we can trust in our system, it comes with just such a different feeling, such a more natural, easy feeling. I'm going to see what else I wrote down, because that's quite a lot to split out at you. Yeah, so panicky thinking. Panicky thinking doesn't change anything. Staying in the present moment is what changes things. So yeah, the other thing that I thought of was, and this is linked to failure as well. So I used to have a real fear of rejection, and I used to want everybody to say yes to working with me. And I used to feel really disappointed if somebody said no. And to some extent, I probably would take it quite personally. And now what's different is, I've talked about this before, it's digital, so it's not a paper folder, but I have a folder where I keep a list of everyone who I've connected with that might not be ready to work together yet, or might just be a flat out no. For anyone who I've kind of connected with or served in any way at all, I keep a list of those people and a little bit of detail around what it was that they were needing help with and how I might be able to help them. And I used to probably not value that folder enough, because it felt personal. It was like a reminder of everybody who had said no. But now it's so different, because now I love that folder. And I look at that folder again, I changed my relationship with that folder, and it's like, now I look at it and I'm really proud of it. So like the thicker the folder is, the more proud I am, because to me now that represents how many people I've connected with. It represents courage, and just it represents a lot of really enjoyable conversations. So the thicker the folder gets, the more I know I'm in the game, and the more I know I'm committed to being a really phenomenal professional coach. Yeah, so I think they're the main things. That's what I wanted to talk about today, because I remember so vividly how it felt to just really feel like I needed financial freedom. Like if I was gonna go into coaching full time, it really felt to me like, if only I could have like £20,000 in my bank saved up, and I'd be good for a year, and I could do a lot in that year. And I was telling myself, like, that's the figure that I need to have. And I would go into victim mindset almost, like it's fine for other coaches because they've inherited money, or they've got another half that can help them out, and I would catch myself thinking all of that. But I wouldn't really see that it was I would see that was real, and I would feel sorry for myself almost, which again didn't really help me in my business in any way at all. This time it's different, because it loops me back to the first point that I made around, when you know how to create wealth, there isn't such a need to feel like you have financial freedom, because you have so much belief in yourself that you will be able to create wealth when you need it. So yeah, I think that's all I have to share this evening. I'd love to know what you think. If there's any points that you want me to expand on, then let me know. Katie, let me know what's going on there underneath the rock, and we'll see if we can help you. But yeah, I hope it's been useful. And now I'm going to try and figure out how to end this video. Thanks for watching.